There's something I understand now that I couldn't understand back then. Love doesn't lose its meaning just because it doesn't last. And it took me years to stop seeing endings as evidence of failure. For a long time, I measured love by its outcome. If it didn't survive, I assumed it wasn't strong enough. If it didn't stay, I believed it wasn't real. That's what we're taught, quietly. That love must prove itself by enduring everything, by staying no matter what, by becoming permanent. So when we ended, I carried a quiet sense of shame, not because of what we did to each other, but because of what we didn't become. I thought love had betrayed me. But the truth was simpler and harder. Love hadn't failed. It had just finished. When I think about us now, I don't remember the ending first. I remember the way it began without announcement. There was no dramatic start, no moment where everything changed. We just slowly noticed each other, in the small things, in shared routines, in the comfort of being understood without having to explain. We didn't rush to name it. We didn't demand certainty. We let it be what it was. And for a while, that was enough. Love lived in ordinary moments, in conversations that didn't need to go anywhere, in silence that felt safe instead of awkward, in the way we showed up without keeping score. Nothing about it was perfect, but it was honest. People like to romanticize love as something that saves you, something that fixes what's broken. But our love didn't save me. It didn't rescue me from myself. It met me where I was. And maybe that's more meaningful. You didn't promise me forever, and I didn't ask for it. We stayed because we wanted to, not because we were afraid to leave. That choice mattered. It made every moment real, and when the choice disappeared, we didn't pretend it was still there. That's when we ended. Quietly, without turning love into blame. I used to replay our ending, searching for the mistake, the moment I should have spoken differently, loved harder, stayed longer. But love doesn't work like that. It's not a test you pass by enduring discomfort indefinitely. Sometimes leaving is not abandonment, it's honesty. And sometimes letting go is not giving up, it's respect. Even now, I don't believe our love was wasted because it shaped me. It taught me how to listen without trying to fix, how to care without controlling. It taught me that connection doesn't have to own your future to be meaningful. There's a strange kind of grief that comes from loving something real that doesn't last. Not the loud grief people recognize, but the quiet one. The kind that appears when a song plays unexpectedly, when a place feels familiar for reasons you can't explain. It doesn't hurt sharply. It reminds gently. And I've learned that this kind of grief is not something to heal from. It's something to carry with care. Because it means you were open. You let someone matter. I don't talk about us much. Not because it still hurts, but because I don't want to simplify it for people who think love must end in permanence to be worth respecting. Some stories are not meant to be summarized. They're meant to be felt. And even now, I hold our love without resentment, without the need to justify why it ended. I don't need to turn you into a lesson or a warning. You were not a mistake. You were a season, and seasons are not failures just because they change. Loving you didn't guarantee a future, but it expanded my present. It taught me that love can be real without being permanent, that something can be meaningful without becoming everything, and that not all endings erase what came before them. Some endings simply ask us to remember differently, not with bitterness, not with regret, but with honesty. If I'm being honest, there was a time when I wished we had lasted longer. Not because I needed more, but because I wasn't ready to say goodbye. But readiness is not a requirement for truth. Love doesn't wait until you're comfortable. It arrives, it exists, and sometimes it leaves, and none of that makes it meaningless. Even now, when I think of love, I no longer ask how long it will last. I ask how it allows me to show up, whether it lets me be honest, whether it makes me kinder, whether it leaves me more open than I was before. That's how I measure love now, not by duration, but by depth. Our love didn't last, and that's not a tragedy. The tragedy would have been pretending it didn't matter, pretending it wasn't real because it didn't survive forever. I refused to do that. Because loving you even briefly was not nothing. It was something that shaped me, something that softened me, something that taught me how to love without fear of endings. And that stays, even if nothing else does. So no, our love didn't last. But it was not meaningless. It lived, it mattered, it changed me. And sometimes that is exactly enough.